It's clear that marriages in America are under attack. And sadly, they're under attack in the church. If you believe the statistics, and I do, then oftentimes, and usually in the church, our understandings and the way we behave and what we think we believe about sex and marriage is no different from the rest of the world. There's a cancer growing even within the church regarding this issue. And everybody that I've known that ever had cancer, when my mother had cancer and died 15 years ago, they wanted to know everything they could about that cancer, that they could find a remedy. And yet, what's ironic is that so often we don't want to talk about this cancer among us. And what I find as I travel the state, that there are so many pastors, and I am grateful that Steve is not one of them, who don't want to talk about issues like this because they know that there are people who've been hurt and abused, as we just sang, that are sitting in the pews and in the chairs, and they don't want, they're afraid they'll hurt people, or they're afraid they'll turn people off. And what I hear is, well, we don't want to offend anybody because we want them to be able to be here to hear the gospel. And the gospel is offensive in many ways. It's the most gracious, healing thing. But there were people that got offended at Jesus. If we're going to be afraid to talk about the things we need to talk about for fear we're going to offend someone, then I would suggest to you there's nothing we can talk about. Nothing, period. We can have psychobabble, just feel good about yourself because God is love, and go home, but that's not all the truth about God. And we need to talk about this subject because our world wants us to not talk about things that are exclusive, but truth is exclusive. I mean, think about it. You can't be going in an up elevator and be going down at the same time. Truth excludes that possibility. And yet our world wants to have a tolerant inclusiveness on everything, except for people who believe in truth. We're the ones that they want to exclude. And we've got to understand the importance of this issue of truth. And it is time for the church to speak truth into our culture. Our culture needs the truth, but it needs the grace that comes with the truth. I love the hymn, Amazing Grace. Was grace that taught my heart to fear, and was grace my fear relieved. See, the world needs to hear truth. It is not very loving to not give people the truth, but we need to give them the grace. And you know, so often in politics and in conservative politics, we got the truth down really, really well, but we ain't got much grace. And truth without grace is a hard, mean thing. And grace without truth is a meaningless thing. Who needs grace if there's no truth to offend, to violate?